This is a tutorial on how to use the Autograph software in order to create a graph that will allow you to visualize some of the linear programming problems that we've been working on. When you open Autograph, you want to choose Advanced and hit OK. And once you open Autograph, first thing that you'll need to do is go to View, Preferences, and then General. And you will need to make sure that the Inequalities Shade Except Region button is clicked. Then you're going to put the axis, the origin in the bottom left-hand corner, because for the problems that we've been working on, as you know, we haven't needed the negative x or y values. You can adjust your axes by going Edit Axes, and if you want to make your maximum x value larger, you can change it to something like 30 if you like, and you can change your y value to 30 as well. They don't have to be equal. You're going to have to decide what range you need for this for the problem you're working on. You can also change the scale numbers if you want. Also, you can change the labels. So if I wanted to, for example, label this pastel and watercolor, I could change those in the labels. I can also make it easier, the label names easier to see. So I can go Axes Labels, Edit Font, and I can go bold and maybe 12, OK. And then you can see that that changes the axes. Now, you can, of course, like I said before, you can change the tick marks if you want the ticks to be every 2 and numbers to be every 5, for example. Maybe we'll change this to every 1. See how that looks. Okay, you can change it for the y-axis also. You're just going to want to create a scale that is appropriate for the problem you're working on for good communication. Okay, now in order to enter some constraints as inequalities, you're going to go to this Enter Equation, which is the plus with the equals, and you can write the inequality if you like. So an example would be 10 is greater than or equal to x plus y, and then you'll go OK, and then you can see that that will shade that for you. You can enter as many equations as you like. 16 is greater than 3x minus y. See how that looks? And you get something that looks like that. Let's change that just to make it a little bit more like the problems we've seen. Now, in this case, since both of these are less than or equal to, then this region here is the feasible region. So what I'll ask you to do is to add some text boxes to your graph in order to communicate better. So you can add a text box, and you can do something like put that in there, and you can edit font if you like and make it bold and make it bigger. That might be good. And then you can move the text box. And then also what you can do is you can use the drawing tool, and then you can put an arrow there. That's the feasible region. You'll also want to label your equations. So, for example, let's call this the time constraint here, and then you can add another one. So we've got that. So put the names of the constraints next to the lines so they're so you can see them. And then if you have profit lines, you'll have to label those as well. So basically, if you want to create a profit line, the way you do that is you would enter an equation, and you would give the profit a variable. So you could do A is the variable, and then you're going to do equals, and let's say it's 3x plus 5y, and let's see how that looks. So you can see that a little profit equation occurred in the corner there, and then you can go to this thing which is called the constant controller, and you can see that it's read that your variable is A. You can adjust the step, so let's say we want to go up by A to increase by units of 10, and let's see what happens with that. You can see that it moves that, and because it's going up by 10, it moves up pretty quickly. So maybe you want to look a little bit closer, so maybe it goes up by 5, and you want to start it at 0. And so let's see what happens there. Now we can use this to see what the the maximum profit's going to be. You can see it's hit this point of intersection, but there's still some profit area that can be had there. So maybe you move up. Okay, it looks like at 10 of the watercolor and 0 of the pastel for this problem. Now this problem is not the same as the ones you guys have been doing. This is just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so that gives you an idea of the functionality of some of the features of Autograph that you're going to use in graphing of some of the problems you're working on.